The vast majority of public Minecraft servers are running a plugin-based server, meaning a server that supports the Spigot or Paper API that allows the installation of plugins, mods that can exclusively be installed on the server side and never require any player to install anything on their end. Which is great, because this means that every single player can join that server just using their vanilla client. No need to mod the game or install a mod pack whatsoever. But these servers, Spigot and Paper, they also have a very big downside. Besides adding plugin support, they also try to make the performance better by implementing optimization patches. The problem is though that a lot of these patches, they change vanilla behavior. You've probably noticed it before. You're playing on a Paper server and you're not able to make certain redstone builds, or some mob farms don't work the way they're supposed to, all because the spawn rates of mobs and the way chunks load in have been modified to make the server perform better, which on its own is great. For server owners it's amazing, for players not so much though. And this has slowly created a movement of server owners who are now no longer opting for Paper or Spigot, but instead they're running a Fabric or NeoForge server, which are essentially just vanilla Minecraft servers, but then with a mod loader added on top of that. Problem with regular mods though is that for most of them players also have to mod their own game, dramatically limiting the amount of players that can now join your server. Players have to go out of their way to mod their own client and install whatever mod pack is needed for you to join that server. A gigantic hassle. But there are actually some mods out there which you can totally fine install on a Fabric or NeoForge server, which don't require players to install anything on their end. They essentially function like plugins, but then on Fabric or NeoForge. So, as this trend of vanilla-compatible Fabric and NeoForge servers is continuing, I felt like it would be good to make a little list of 10 incredible server-side only Fabric and NeoForge mods you can install on your server, which will not require your players to install anything on their end. Now, of course, before we start, do make sure to double check if you're actually subbed to the channel. The vast majority of my daily viewers are still not, which means that the majority of those watching this video are still not subscribed. So if you could just double check if you're actually subscribed already, I would appreciate that so extremely much. So let's start with the first no-brainer. Definitely, it is Lithium. So Lithium is a no-compromise game logic optimization mod. What it does is, it basically enhances the game in numerous ways. For example, the game's physics, the mob AI, the block ticking, and a lot more. And it all does that without changing vanilla mechanics altogether. Which means that as we're already running a NeoForge or Fabric server, we already have all the vanilla mechanics, and installing this mod won't change that fact. But it does optimize everything a little bit, which is great. This is definitely the go-to optimization mod you want to install on your Fabric or NeoForge server. No matter what other mods you're getting or what type of server you're running, Lithium should most definitely be on there. Another great server-side only optimization mod you should get is Let Me Despawn. This one improves server's performance by tweaking the mob despawn rules. So to summarize what this mod does, it allows mobs with equipped items to despawn naturally. It also preserves dropped items when mobs despawn. There's also a configurable mob exclusion list, and it works server-side only. So there are some little tweaks when it comes to mods. Generally, this should not impact mob farms at all. It is just a great addition. If you're already installing Lithium, you may just install Let Me Despawn too. It also works fully on the server side, and it makes it so that mobs that pick up items and armor can actually despawn, because in vanilla Minecraft they cannot, which can be a giant hassle. Now that we're going over optimization mods anyway, I might as well mention Clumps. Clumps is once again an optimization mod for Minecraft that clumps XP orbs together to reduce lag. For anyone that has ever built a big mob farm in Minecraft that drops a lot of XP, you may know that it can be quite laggy. Clumps solves this issue by grouping XP orbs together into a single entity, which reduces lag drastically. If you're running a server in a higher version than 1.17, this mod only has to be installed on the server side, so that is something that's good to keep in mind. If you're building a server in 1.16 or lower, then this mod doesn't actually qualify for this list, as it needs to be installed both on the client and on the server. But for every single modern Minecraft server, it only has to be installed on the server side, and it will just simply reduce lag in the background. So definitely recommend getting this one. Then, continuing on the list of optimization mods, we got Ferret Core. Ferret Core is a memory usage optimization mod, which means it reduces the memory usage of Minecraft. And it does this in a few different ways. Now, this mod does have great optimizations for both servers and for clients. There are optimizations that are client-side only, so vanilla players playing on your Fabric or NeoForge server will miss out on those, but there are also a bunch of server-side optimizations, and for those, it doesn't have to be installed on any client whatsoever. You also don't need to have it installed on your client to join the server that's running Ferret Core. So another no-brainer when it comes to optimizing your server, just get it on. Especially with these crazy high RAM prices nowadays, a memory optimization mod is extremely useful. And then the last optimization mod for both Fabric and Forge that I want to go over before moving on to some other things is Server Core. So Server Core is a mod that optimizes the Minecraft server. Wow. So what does it do? It basically includes multiple patches and optimizations to improve performance and reduce lag spikes. Now, a good thing to note here is that there are many configurable features that can heavily reduce lag. They may have a slight impact on gameplay depending on the configuration. Now, it also states here that by default, Server Core should not alter the vanilla behavior. So you can just drag and drop and then kind of forget about it. But if you do not mind sacrificing a little bit of vanilla behavior just to get some heavy lag reduction, then you might want to configure the mod a little bit. But overall, this mod works great. It also seems to work perfectly fine with Lithium and all the other mods I've taken a look at in this video so far. So this may just be another good optimization mod for your server. I've recommended a total of 5 now. I'm sure all of them together will certainly make a noticeable difference. Now, I want to make kind of an honorable mention here. This is not one that's actually on the list. It's only available for Fabric, which is why it is an honorable mention. But very many players. Also, pretty cool mod. It is a mod specifically designed to improve server performance at high player counts. So, if you got a small server with only your friends or your class at school, then you may not need this one altogether. But if you have a big server with lots of players, then this can be a very nice optimization mod too. It is only available for Fabric though, so if you're running a NeoForge server, unfortunately, you're out of luck. But on Fabric, it works great and it's also fully compatible with Lithium, so nothing to worry about. Okay, we've made it halfway through the list. So far, only optimization mods. I'm gonna focus on some other things now. Some of the mods that I'm gonna cover still are related to optimization. They're not simple drag and drop solutions like the 5 I've shown before. Also, did you actually check if you're subscribed already? If not, make sure to do so. You would make me so happy. Next up, we got a good old classic. It is, yes sir, World Edit. So World Edit is famously known for being a plugin, and it is a plugin. It's also a mod, so you can totally find on your Fabric or NeoForge installation, install it locally on your own client, and then in single player, you can World Edit. But World Edit you can actually also use on a Fabric or NeoForge server without having to install it on your client whatsoever. It fully works server-side. No downloads required whatsoever, and they can then just go ahead and use World Edit. Just like they would be able to do on a paper server, but then on a modded platform. Really cool stuff. But maybe you don't want every single player to just use World Edit. You know, that could cause problems. It could definitely cause them. So make sure to also, of course, get Luck Perms. The absolute best permission plugin out there. At least that's my opinion. I've made so many videos about this plugin here on the channel, about how to set it up, how to manage permissions. All of those videos were made using the paper platform though. But Luck Perms you can also totally install on a Fabric or NeoForge installation. You only need it on the server side, and it allows you to manage permissions. For example, to make it so that not every single player can use World Edit on your Fabric server. You might just want to make it so that only your admins can, or only your mods, or only your builders. So this one is highly recommended. If you're currently setting up a Fabric or NeoForge server and you want every vanilla player to be able to join, definitely get Luck Perms as well. Now, if you would like to see a more detailed tutorial on Luck Perms specifically for the Fabric or NeoForge platform, do let me know in the comments down below if there is interest in that, because I will definitely get onto it. And what about improving the world generation? Also very important. I would recommend TerraLive. Now, of course, there are a bunch of world generation data packs out there, and there are also a bunch of world generation plugins. But in this video, we're just talking about mods, and TerraLive is indeed a data pack, but it's also a great Fabric and NeoForge mod that vastly improves the world generation of your world. For those who don't even want to think about data packs, this one you can simply download, drag into your mods folder, and next time you reboot, you will be in a beautiful TerraLive world. I think most of you will be familiar with TerraLive, that adds 100 new biomes to the game, and of course it all does this without adding new blocks whatsoever, which means no player has to install anything on their own client, it just has to be installed on the server side, and any vanilla player can just enjoy the beautiful new world gen. Really cool stuff. Hey, and when you're choosing a new world generation mod, you might also just want to get chunky. Another incredible mod for Minecraft that allows you to pre-generate your world, vastly improving performance, especially with a lot of players on your server. One of the most resource-intensive tasks that a Minecraft server can perform is generating new terrain. Especially using something like TerraLive, a custom world generation mod, that task becomes even more CPU intensive. With something like Chunky, you can make it so that all of the chunks that players explore are generated already, and now the server only has to render them in, which is still intensive, but definitely not as much as the generating itself. I've made a very detailed tutorial on Chunky here on the channel already, definitely check that one out if you're interested. But if you're experiencing lag with a bunch of players on your server, if they're all like generating new terrain, get Chunky. Install it on your server, it's server side only, again, of course it can also be installed on the client, but that's only useful if you want to use it in single player. On multiplayer servers like Fabric or NeoForge, it only has to be installed on the server side. Now, before we dive into the last mod of today, let me do two more honorable mentions. First up, there is Lazy AI, a Minecraft mod that optimizes mob AI by scaling calculations based on distance to the player. In other words, mobs that are further away from you will tick less often and just become less precise. Now, the reason that this is an honorable mention is that this is a Fabric only mod. Also, it does impact the vanilla AI and mob system, so it could definitely break mob farms. That is also definitely something to keep in mind. But generally, it is still a very cool mod, and if you're running Fabric, you might want to have a go at it. And then the last honorable mention of today is Appleskin. Now, you've probably heard about Appleskin before. It is really popular. But the reason I still want to mention it is that this is a mod which you can install in your server. It has absolutely no downsides for players who don't have the mod installed on their own client. They will simply not notice it's there, but those who do have it installed on their own client, so those who have their own game modded, they will have a better experience because they're gonna be able to see accurate saturation and exhaustion values. If this mod is not installed on the server, it cannot very accurately display these values. The client mod basically wants to talk to the server mod to make sure it is correct. And players who don't have the mod are not prevented from joining whatsoever, they will just not notice the mod is there. But those who do have it installed, which by looking at this number is a lot of people, they will have just a better experience on your server if this mod is there. So, honorable mention. You might want to get onto that one. And then the last mod of today is Monsters in the Closet. Highlights mobs that are preventing you from sleeping. It is a really simple mod, but a great one nonetheless. It basically highlights the mob, just like this, if you try to sleep and it is preventing you from actually sleeping. Meaning that you know exactly which mob to get rid of. Very handy stuff. It can also be installed on the client, and if it is installed on the client, then it will work in single player and any server that you play on. But if you install it on the server side only, then everyone can see the highlights, even those without the mod. In other words, it fits perfectly into today's list, and it's also available for both Fabric and NeoForge. Even though it says it's not updated for 1.21.11, I can in fact confirm that it does work totally fine on 1.21.11. In fact, every single mod that I've showed off in today's video, I currently have installed here on this server. And just to give you some extra peace of mind, I currently have a completely vanilla installation of Minecraft running. You can see there's absolutely no mod installed whatsoever. It is vanilla Minecraft, and when I now try to join the server, you can see that it works totally fine. There we go. We're enjoying TerraLive, and I'm able to do //want. Look at that. We can now just world edit. I can do // set diamond block, and there we go. Working on a Fabric server. And even when I grab a bed, I do time/midnight. I place the bed down just like this. And I then go to survival and I try to sleep. You can see that I am not able to sleep because the creeper is way too close. Hi creeper, please don't blow me up. Oh no, what's happening? Okay, no, we're fine. No, we're not fine. Okay, there goes my bed. So yeah, that mod also works without issue. And that is gonna be it for today. Link to every single mod I've covered can of course be found in the description down below. Do make sure to double check if you're subbed to the channel, join my Discord. Thank you so much, channel members. And then I will see you in the next one. Bye bye, see you later, bye bye.